to rock this place.
Welcome to the season 3 finale of the Buffalo Sports Conversation Room. I'm your host, Jamie Malloy, and unfortunately, my co-host, Joe Dalio, couldn't be here as he had a scheduling conflict. So I'm going to welcome my special guest and Seattle Seahawks fan, Julie Miller, on with me. So without any further ado, here's Julie.
Hey,
Julie,
thanks for having me, Jamie.
Yeah, no problem. We were just talking backstage about your beer stats that you got from your dad. I thought that was pretty cool.
Oh, yes, absolutely. 1983, handcrafted in Brazil. It was actually made by Avon, like the makeup people, which is kind of interesting, but it has all these different football figures, handcrafted, super cool. So I had to shout that out. My dad always finds these super cool, like, kind of nostalgic, antiques, I guess, of a football variety. And I was like, I have to have that. So, yes.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, are you ready to start it off with the Saturday 4:30 p.m. matchup, the 12-5 Buffalo Bills, 14-3 Denver Broncos at Empire Field at Mile High?
Yeah, let's go.
This one pays me to do, but we got to do it, so let's do it.
It pains me too. I don't know if that helps, but...
On the Broncos' first drive of the game, Will Lutz kicked a 28-yard field goal to bring the score to 3-0 Denver. On the Bills' first drive, Allen passed the ball to McCole Hardman Jr. for a 4-yard touchdown on a 67-yard, 12-play drive, taking 7:23 off the clock to give the Bills the lead, 7-3. With 9:38 left in the second, Frank Crum scored on a 7-yard touchdown pass from Bo Nix on an 8-play, 6-yard drive, taking 3:50 off the clock to give the Broncos the lead, 10-7. With 2:17 left in the second quarter, Matt Prater kicked a 33-yard field goal to knot the score at 10-all. With 29 seconds left in the half, Lil Jordan Humphrey scored his second touchdown of the year for 29 yards on a 7-play, 11-yard drive, taking 1:45 off the clock to bring the score to 17-10. After a fumble from Allen with 2 seconds left in the half, it gave the Broncos an opportunity, for Lutz to kick a 50-yard field goal to end the half at 20-10 Broncos. With 11:39 left in the third quarter, Will Lutz kicked his third field goal of the game, this time for 33 yards to increase the Broncos score to 23-10. With 6:55 left in the third quarter, Keon Coleman, he finally showed up, right? Scored his 5th receiving touchdown of the season on a 10-yard pass from Allen to cut the lead to 23-17. With 13:29 left in the fourth quarter, Dalton Kincaid scored his second straight receiving touchdown of the playoffs for 14 yards to give the Bills the lead, 24-23. With 4:14 left in the fourth, Prater kicked his second field goal of the game, this time for 31 yards to increase the Bills' lead to 27-23. With 1:01 left in the fourth quarter, Marvin Mims scored on a 26-yard touchdown from Nix to bring the score to 30-27 Broncos. With 3 seconds left in the fourth, Prater kicked a 50-yard field goal to tie the game to 30 and bring it to overtime. And Lutz kicked a 23-yard field goal to end the game to reach the AFC Championship game, 33-30. So, Julie, did you think that there were some problems with the refs' calls at the end of the game?
I think we all had some skepticism about some of the calls the refs made. Particularly, I think we all know the infamous McMillian and Cook's catch.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was listening to Richard Sherman's take on this, and he was as shocked as everyone else. He said nobody ever gave me the benefit of the doubt because, or really anyone, because it always goes to the wide receiver, from that team. Like they always get the benefit of the doubt, and something like that, they never give it to the other team. So that's sort of unprecedented, I would say. I agreed with him, of course. That was a shocking. I mean, it has us all questioning what a catch is all of a sudden, which is not what I was expecting, not in my bingo card, but.
First Des Bryant against the Packers about a decade ago. Now this.
Yeah, no kidding. It's been a minute.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. How
Yep.
did you feel about that?
I thought that was totally a catch. And the funny thing is, if that was a catch, I think the Bills would have set up for the game-winning field goal, and Prater would have made it, and they'd be in the AFC Championship game right now, and McDermott wouldn't have gotten fired. They'd be playing New England right now.
Pretty much how that turned out. Yes, I have to agree. At least they would have been. It's almost certainly a touchdown for sure if they had given him that.
Or the game-winning field goal, yeah. So
yeah. Right. So disappointing.
Yep. And what did you think about Josh Allen having another great season, and then it came down to this, sadly?
I'm not a Bills fan, but Josh Allen is a great quarterback, probably not one of my most favorite of all time or anything, but I had to feel bad, obviously. I think everyone did. And just feel I'm impressed. He was the MVP last year. It's kind of hard to not see how impressive he is. It often feels like he's carrying the team, doing everything for the team. What was there? I believe in one of the interviews before the game, he said, if everything hurts, nothing hurts. So nobody can say that he's not a tough cookie. He went in there with all types of injuries and got beat up, and he's always putting his body on the line. So I certainly felt like you can't ask a whole lot more from him. I mean, maybe a little less turnovers, but even then, I mean, the extenuating circumstances, it made sense to me.
Mm-hmm. But that's why, like I said, they changed their offense in 2023 when James Cook took over, to be more of a running team to protect his body. That's why they run the ball more. So, but
it felt like I'm trying to remember which game it was that he recently got pretty hurt because he did the hero ball again, and then it didn't end that well. I think there's always a time in a quarterback's life when they realize that they don't recover like they used to. And you got to slow it down a little bit. I think he might be getting closer to there. But I mean, he's so huge. He's like a tree. So it makes perfect sense that he just kind of bulldozes through people and can move surprisingly fast. So yeah, but here's hoping they actually give him some more pieces to work with, because when a quarterback is expected to do it all, that means that there's significant team problems.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it often feels like he's the only guy there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, now James Cook, of course, I have a great appreciation for what he was doing, but you can't have a running back and a quarterback, and that's it.
Mm-hmm. And do you think there was anything that Buffalo could have done differently in this game to win it?
Probably. I mean, I think the obvious answer would be less turnovers and fumbles, but I feel like that was a symptom of a lot of other issues that I'm not you could do a full diagnostic of design play and things like that. But I mean, it would be too easy to boil it down to just, Josh Allen should have did this or that or whatever. It felt like they were giving James Cook the ball a lot, but he wasn't always handling it that well. And I was just But I get it because he was also doing great things. So it was kind of like a tough one there. But yeah, I don't really.
It's a time of possession offense. That's what they do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't. What do you think?
Well, I think that last drive where they took all that time off the clock in the fourth quarter, they missed that wide open touchdown to Dawson Knox that would have made it
Right.
31-23 instead of kicking the field goal there to only go up by 4.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
Mm-hmm.
There's a few plays that could have gone differently, but you could also say that for the refs too, obviously. So
right.
like
It just seems like throughout this whole era, McDermott was, I don't get me wrong, he was great when he took over, but it's like they had so many games like that where you could just nitpick everything, but I'm not going to do that, obviously. So
no.
Yeah. And what do you think about this? This is, I didn't find this out till after the game was over, so this makes the loss even more devastating. But what do you think about the fact that Bo Nix suffered a broken bone in his ankle in that overtime play? And it's like, so they quote unquote won this game, but at what cost? Because now he's out for the year and Jared Stidham has to start next week against the Patriots, who look like the Patriots of the old, because now they're getting favoritism from the refs like they used to with Brady.
Yeah, that's disaster fuel. I don't know what they did to anger the football gods so repeatedly in the past, but yeah, it's like the worst ever. I watched Brandon Perna, on That's Good Sports Copa about it for 45 minutes, and I completely understood why it took that long and probably longer. Because imagine actually getting there and then, which is an achievement all in itself, and then knowing that you're going to have to go for the guy that hasn't started a single snap the entire season, and that hasn't happened since the 1950s. That a quarterback that hasn't snapped one time and the regular season is now in a championship. So that was shocking stat to me, but it makes complete sense. I thought that they might have hustled somebody else in there. Any other number of coaches. I mean, the quarterbacks, because Stidham seems like a really unfortunate. I would have probably preferred a more experienced, like a Flacco or something over Stidham. No offense to Stidham, but he hasn't done any like regular game snaps. Like I would rather have somebody who's actually played this season, who is, even if they're old, you only need them for 1, maybe 2 games. So going with him seems like a risk. And then, yeah, it was one of the worst. I'm just like, whose cornflakes did you piss in? Was my question, because I was like, there's no way. Yeah, and then it was like, sure, it was, it made their win a little more ridiculous, because now they can't actually utilize it like they would if he was healthy. It was like the universe is telling us it wasn't supposed to happen this way.
Right. The one thing that Jared Stidham actually, one thing about him though is the Patriots are his former team, and he was Tom Brady's backup for a little bit. I mean, but other than that,
Right, and I'm sure he's a perfectly good quarterback, but we wouldn't know because we haven't seen him, and he hasn't done any snaps, any reps. Like, those are really important, and he hasn't done them. He's not been the main guy. He hasn't practiced with probably those guys very much. He probably had backups or whatever they do. And so I'm like, this seems so risky. It sounds like an utter disaster. It would be like if the little ginger dude. How am I forgetting Sam Darnold?
Sam Darnold, yeah.
Yeah, it's been a day. So it's kind of like if he was out with that shoulder injury, the oblique injury that everybody was worried about, and Locke came in, my nemesis, my nightmare, it would have looked a lot like that, I feel like. And that was something that nobody wanted to see. Mm-hmm. So it's like the worst reality.
Although if you think about it, though, Drew Lock could have ran that offense because Sam Darnold basically was a game manager in that offense, and that's all Drew Lock had to do in that game. You know,
I would say you're right, but was it? No, it wasn't last season. It was the season before that. I believe it was the season before that when he got a lot of reps, and it was just absolute nightmare after nightmare after nightmare. Mm-hmm. I think he covered like 6 games or something mm-hmm. like that. My memory is not on par tonight totally, but I remember it took him like 3 or 4 games to get there, and it was absolute torture. It was like it was watching like a middle schooler out there mm-hmm. for like it was just total mm-hmm. pain. And then once he finally got it, it's like something clicked and he was really good. But the thing is it took him a few weeks to get there and we don't have mm-hmm. that. And so I was like, are we going to see, I was certain since it happened last time that we would get the Drew Lock fresh off the block look. And that is a nightmare. Like mm-hmm. game manager or not, he couldn't do a damn thing. Okay.
That was with Pete Carroll, though, last time. I think it would have been different with Mike McDonald, though, when he did that.
I have trust issues with him because we've had a past. Those games were unforgettable for me. Just watching mm-hmm. him just mess up everything repeatedly, mm-hmm. just rep after rep after. I'm just like, forget about it. Like, I didn't even mm-hmm. want to watch the games. And then when it finally mm-hmm. clicked, I was like, oh, thank God. But boy, did it take a while. Mm-hmm. So I don't trust him. Okay. I don't trust him. Right. Yeah. So I think it feels probably like that for the Broncos. And it's no mm-hmm. offense to either quarterback, but.
Mm-hmm. But speaking of, let's move on. How about we talk about,
I was actually going to ask because there is that big news about the promoting firing McDermott, obviously, and then promoting Brandon Beane to president of football operations. How do you feel about that? It sounds like you didn't want McDermott to go.
I didn't want either one of them to go, but unfortunately, one of them had to. And I think, like I said, it was a power struggle, and which Brandon Beane won. But I think what happened was McDermott wanted to keep getting the same type of players for him. But I think Brandon Beane was saying, "Look, we need to win a Super Bowl now," and he just said he let McDermott go because I think Beane was just sick of doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results.
Yeah, so you're okay with him being still there and promoted then?
Yeah, I am.
Okay, because I heard mixed reviews on that, so I was curious what your take was.
Yeah, I did. Like I said, the coach, like I said, is important, but I think in this situation, like you got to remember, the GM is almost like the owner, except the GM gets to pick the players, and the GM has a box like the owner does, and they're watching what's going on in the field. The coach is just on the sideline, but the GM can see the whole shooting match on the field with the owner. So that's why I think it was easier to keep Beane, because he's watching more what's going on with the players, and the coach is just coaching.
Yeah, I hear you. And yeah, they definitely need to do something different. So yeah, if he's facilitating that. I did not realize McDermott was only 51. Those 51 years have been hard for him. That's a hard 51.
I mean, yeah, he only had to be a defensive coordinator for Carolina, where he had Thomas Smith and Luke Kuechly, right? But still.
Yeah, I don't know if it was no sunscreen or something. Maybe it was all of the rain over and snow, but boy.
But guess what? Guess who he had to deal with then, and he doesn't have to deal with now? Cam Newton.
Cam's a big personality. Yeah, maybe that aged him because dude looks like he's in his 60s.
But don't forget, Brandon B was the assistant GM when they drafted him in Carolina. So
Yeah. Oh, interesting.
yeah, before McDermott and Beane came to Buffalo, they were with Carolina. So.
Oh wow. Well, who do you want? Who would be your first pick to replace him?
You're not going to be happy if I say this, but I think you know who I'm talking about.
Well, you haven't said.
I want your offensive coordinator.
Oh, well, of course, everybody wants that. Yeah, that would be quite the option, yes.
Clay Kubiak.
I understand that. Yeah, I haven't even heard anybody talking about him, though.
Some people are saying they're actually saying he's, if you believe the odds, some of the odds are saying he's actually the top candidate for the Bills.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, I would snap him up too if I were you. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, hey, think about it. He's coaching Sam Darnold right now, and guess who happens to be best friends with Sam Darnold? Josh Allen. So
really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because they were both buddies. Because they were both drafted in the same draft class together, and they really bonded over that, even though they went to different teams.
I just feel like Sam Darnold's one of the most cringe humans in life, but it's good to. So I didn't know Josh Allen. Well, I didn't know he had. It's nice to hear he has a good friend like Josh Allen.
But it's good to. I'm glad Sam Darnold, though they didn't do what they did to other quarterbacks who failed in the top 5. They didn't throw him away like a piece of trash. Like he went to different places and they actually believed in him and used his skills right. And Mike McDonald did the same thing. He actually believed in him and they used his skills right, which the Jets didn't really use it. They didn't really do that with him. But I'm glad the league didn't throw him away like a piece of trash and somebody believed in Darnold. So
yeah, I would have definitely put him in the trash bin a couple of years ago for sure. So it goes to show that the team is a huge part of a quarterback's development and how much talent is getting wasted now. It's worth thinking about. We probably lost a lot of really good QBs early because they went to a bad team or something, but such it is.
Yeah. So anyway, here we go. Do you want to move? We're going to move on to the Saturday 8:00 p.m. game between the 12-5 San Francisco 49ers versus the 14-3 Seattle Seahawks at Lumen Field, however you say it. But
Lumen, yeah.
Lumen Field, yeah. With 14:47 left in the first quarter, Rashid Shaheed, in a trade from the New Orleans Saints, ran it in on a 95-yard opening kickoff return to bring the score to 7-0 Seahawks. Hey, that UFL kickoff rule, right, Julie? We brought it into the NFL, and that's what they wanted, more returns, right? Mm-hmm. So with 5:06 left in the first, Jason Myers kicked a 31-yard field goal to increase the Seahawks lead 10-0. With 1:50 left in the first quarter, Jackson Smith-Njigba from the Ohio State University caught a 4-yard touchdown pass to end the first quarter, 17-0. With 11:58 left in the second quarter, Eddie Pinheiro making some bread here, kicking a 40-yard field goal to cut the lead to 17-3 Seahawks. With 4:52 left in the second quarter, Pinheiro delivering more bread, kicked his second field goal, this time for 56 yards to bring the score to 17-6 Seahawks. With 31 seconds left in the half, Kenneth Walker III, or KW3 as I call him, ran it in for a 7-yard touchdown to end the halftime score at 24-6 Seahawks. With 7:07 left in the third quarter, Myers kicked his second field goal of the game, this time for 24 yards to increase their lead to 3 scores, 27-6. With 2:23 left in the third quarter, Walker scored a 15-yard touchdown to end the quarter at 34-6 Seahawks. With 12:43 left in the fourth, Walker scored his third touchdown in the game to seal the win, 41-6, and bring the Seahawks to the NFC Championship game. So, Julie, what did you think about kind of like what the Bills do? But I think you've kind of seen the league kind of shift back to this, even though it's an air it out type of league. What do you think about them playing like an old school, time of possession game where the running game played a bigger role than the passing, and then they ran it down Seattle's throats, and Darnold just threw the ball when he needed to. It was a gritty win like that. What do you think?
I think the Seahawks have always relied super heavily on running backs. And I'm thinking, I'm having a hard time thinking I'm going 15 years, but I just feel like we've always had a really strong running back core, and we use them all the time. I think we're just a super run heavy team, have been for most of our since Russ got there, at least.
That was Pete Carroll's car. That was Pete Carroll's calling car, was just keep running the rock,
Right, and that really works for us, I would say. And we get really solid running backs who are really talented. Obviously beast mode. I mean, come on. Get your Skittles out, because that guy was crazy. So
it would take like 9 or 10 guys to bring him down. They still couldn't bring him down.
Okay. Yeah, Marshawn Lynch is the one for the books, and he's still awesome now. And so we've always been doing this. So I just feel like it's our MO. I can't remember a time. When Russ wasn't scrambling, it was pretty much getting ran. I don't think we've been super throw heavy. I mean, we have the moon balls, of course, right? But I feel like running backs is our thing. So it just felt like a continuation of what we already always do.
Run the football, play good defense.
And I mean, we have Kenneth Walker at the third, and then we also have Charbonnet. And most people would be like, "Why do you need another one? You already have one." Well, we need two, because they get injured and they get used all the time. And they have different skills, of course, but some teams only have like one solid running back. We need two really good ones. Always need two. So that's why we got what we got.
I'm going to pull a Chris Bermanism here. I don't know if you know, I do this on my show with Joe. I pull some Chris Bermanisms. So for Zach Charbonnet, Charbonnet's a type of wine, right? So Chris Berman would normally say wine for everybody. So I always say wine for everybody when Charbonnet scores.
Yes.
Because how Dan Campbell, he used to say soup for everyone, Dan Campbell. And then Sam Adams, the defensive tackle, used to say beer for everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Yes. And I was sad when he well, see, this is the thing, and nobody specifically said this, but I felt like there's undertones that Kenneth Walker III was getting kind of ignored in lieu of Charbonnet, and he was sort of getting shown out all the time by Charbonnet, the younger talent who was seemingly doing better, and Kenneth was having a really kind of a low yardage season, I think, in comparison. He wasn't doing that great. It felt like he wasn't really able to run it that much this season. I don't have all the stats to back that up, but that was just my impression, is that Charbonnet was out there a lot more, and that he was more solid. And so to see Kenneth kind of come back into himself, I guess, at the end of the season and obviously I don't want to see anybody get injured ever, but for Charbonnet to kind of leave, I think that sort of opened the door even wider for Kenneth to remind everybody why he's there and why he's really great. So I feel like even if it was never stated that that he was kind of getting shown out by his predecessor and kind of iced out a little bit, I feel like that was sort of an undertone. So it was good to see him out there like killing it,
And what do you think about the Seahawks defense not allowing a single touchdown for a second consecutive game against the 49ers? And we talk about the Legion of Boom defense. I'm impressed by this defense too. Where do you see this defense compared with the Legion of Boom?
Well, I try not to make too many comparisons because I appreciate both for what they're bringing, right? But I would say they're really good. And so we're the Legion of Boom, right? I think they like to call themselves the dark side. Um and so oh my god, I was kind of worried that they were gonna break Purdy into half because he's kind of a smaller guy, and I just thought they were gonna snap him like a twig because he was out there, and for a team that can make anything happen with their hospice crew of like glued together players. I was shocked that because they got there in the first place with a hospice team. They always seem to be able to make something out of nothing, but
That's
it
Kyle
just was.
Shanahan for you. But go
Yeah,
ahead.
but not today. Okay, not last Saturday. Let me tell you something. They got nothing. I haven't seen Purdy so frustrated with such an inability to get anything going. In a minute, it felt like it was extremely pronounced at this point. And I mean, McCaffrey was like super upset on the sidelines. They couldn't get anything going. And I'm like, oh my God, just don't like snap his leg off because those guys are big, they're mean, and they are like not to be played with. So they scare me and they're on my team, but because they are huge. So I have a strong appreciation for what they're doing. It's good to see a really strong defense like that again.
And do you think that Sam Darnold will be able to carry his turnover-free game next week against the Rams? Because the Rams have a pretty good defense too, with another head coaching candidate and defensive coordinator Chris Shula, Dave Shula's son, Dave Shula's son, Don Shula's grandson, and Mike Shula's nephew.
Right. Yeah. I don't know. Like again, you mentioned before that he's just a kind of a play manager. I don't know that we couldn't do the same with someone else. If it's not obvious, I'm not married to the concept of Darnold. He's not going to be our franchise quarterback. I don't feel like he's just kind of here. It's the energy that I'm getting for like a couple of years until you get someone else. I feel like, and so, he doesn't even throw that much anyway. So if they just rely on the run like they do now, and he just like pulls it together, who knows? But what I'm saying is even if he has his moments like he's prone to do, he does have those moments. I think that between the defense and the run game, we might be able to compensate even if he does. We have been all season, or we wouldn't be where we're at.
You know, there is a guy, there is a young backup that you have below Sam Darnold that like Sam Darnold's played so well that everybody forgot that you drafted this guy.
Yeah, even I forgot because
you know who I'm talking about, right?
Jalen Monroe, right?
Jalen Milroe, yeah.
Milroe, yeah. My bestie, shout out. She actually had an event at work where he was there doing a food bank thing. And so I was like, who is that? And so I looked up his number and it said it was Jalen Monroe. And I'm like, who is that? I've seen like 2 posts of him on like fan pages for the Seahawks all season long. Like, I think everyone forgot that he existed.
He was your rookie quarterback this year. You drafted him in the 3rd round.
Yeah, right. Completely spaced out on that one. Gonna be honest. Would love to see what we can do with that. Obviously not right now.
Well, I mean, if you saw him in Alabama, I watched his tape on draft night. He's good. And I'm at the read option and the RPO, and he can help you with the tush push too. But the one thing about him, though, we got to get him polished a little more as a passer, and I think you have a really good dual threat guy there down the road.
Well, yeah, now that I know that he's alive and on our team, I feel like I'm excited to see what he can do because he just might be what happens in a couple years when because Darnold, again, like I said, is just sort of a bridge. And I'm totally open. They saw something in him. 3rd round is not that low, and you can be a Purdy if you want to be and be the very last guy. So I don't think that's a disqualifier. Would love to see if he's going to be like that franchise guy. Why not?
he's just raw right now with passing, but he's a much better runner than Darnold is. So.
Well, and I love the idea of having the rookie quarterback not getting shoved out on the field in the first year. Some of our greatest talents of yesteryear have, actually got to sit like Brady, like
Russell Wilson was a third-round pick too, 2012,
yeah,
third round, I think. Yeah, third round.
and he was a little short king. Nobody thought he was going to be able to do a lot of the things that he did. I'm trying to think. Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers. Some of our best have come from people who like sat out a couple years. I don't think that. I think it's a disservice to rookies to put them out and like watch them flounder. You know what I mean?
And right. And so, what is your prediction for next week's game? Rams at Seattle.
I gotta say, and this is just my personal, drama. Take it to my counselor, but I just feel like the Rams have. Well, first off, I have this sinking feeling that the Rams loving crew is going to be there. The same one from 2019 with the Saints. As a Saints fan by proxy, I take that loss very seriously. Never forgave the Rams for that one. Never will. And so like. I just have this sinking feeling that that's going to be the same officiating crew. I could just be imagining that. And then the Rams, it feels like they're always beating us, always better than us in the past. And so I have a little bit of a complex with both the 49ers and the Rams because they're usually finding some way to get one over on us, right? And so I feel like they have some kind of kryptonite. Maybe they have voodoo dolls of us. I'm not really sure. But I feel like if any team was going to like whip it out and somehow be able to do it, it would be the Rams. Since they seem to know all of our vulnerabilities and somehow are able to prey on it. They shouldn't even be where they're at now either. So I guess I have a fear because of the past. That they'll be able to find, somebody will be out there stabbing the doll somewhere like they did with Mahomes. And so I guess I just have I really wish it would be anybody but our division rival who knows us better than anything and can usually make something out of nothing too.
At least you pounded San Francisco pretty good though. So, I mean, we'll see.
You're right. Because I could kind of see that again because they were playing hospice ball. They probably were collecting fans on the sidelines to bring them onto the field because they didn't have enough people, in Seattle. So, like, I kind of felt like they're just so down bad that, like, if it went any other way, it would be concerning. I certainly think that we can and should trounce the Rams, but, God, they seem to they're a kryptonite, man. So if anybody's going to get us, it's them, I feel like. And so I do have I have a bit of a concern there, yes. But I think this just might be our year because that defense, oh my God. So I think they might just like really scramble what's his name? Stafford's spine. Okay. They'll give him back problems he won't forget, I feel like. So because I know he has a lot of issues with his back. I think that giving Byron Murphy might just fix that for him for life, right? So like I'm a little concerned about his well-being too. But again, would wish it was. I wanted the Bears to win so badly because one, I like watching Caleb Williams play. He's so talented, but then also just anyone who doesn't seem to have this like kryptonite power over us would have been my pick. I could see them sneaking something with those refs, a little ref ball in there. They get whatever their little thing is that makes them succeed, and somehow they try to make some magic there, and it's going to piss me off. So I'm really hoping that doesn't happen. What do you think? Who do you think is going to steal that one?
Man, I love to see the Seahawks do it and then win the Super Bowl, and then Clint Kubiak brings his Super Bowl ring as an offensive assistant to the Bills when if he gets hired. We'll see.
I like how you think.
Mm-hmm.
McDonald's seems to, he's my birthday twin, by the way, so we're cool. Day, not year, of course. And so like he seems to be able to bring in pretty good coaches. So like I feel like if Kubiak left, like we would find somebody else pretty great. So
Now moving on to everybody's favorite topic.
Mm.
NFL coaching hirings and firings.
Yeah, we talked a little bit about that just with the Bills because y'all are one of the biggest like openings right now. So talk about like important, right?
Josh Allen, yep.
Yeah. Oh my God, when he cried, I kind of almost did. And then when Dawkins cried, I think a little tear did slip out because I can't handle.
I think that's great because no, but I mean they've tried not to nitpick, all the things that they've gone through, the 13-second game, the excuse me, the 13-second game, Tyler Bass missing that field goal.
Yeah.
Josh Allen getting robbed on that tush push that should have been a first down, and now this. And I think it just finally, it just built up that enough
and
was
it's been
enough.
so
They
close.
just let it out.
It's been so close for so many years. And so I felt like that too. And I was thankful that Richard Sherman had an empathetic approach to that. I saw some different broadcasters who really need to get a therapist and learn how to be a man who can express their feelings, because it's really clear that they have some repressed emotional issues, because anyone who says that he's weak for expressing that, they must have forgotten that he literally said, if this doesn't hurt, if everything hurts, nothing hurts, because he's a tough cookie, and just because you cry doesn't mean that you aren't one. And so I was really alarmed to see the lack of emotional competency from so many individuals. But I think like regular, normal, healthy, happy people were able to empathize with that, and were like, it's so clear like how much it means to him, and it felt horrible to see how much he blamed himself for that.
Right.
Yeah.
And I call those people, those are fake alphas. They're trying to be alphas, but they're not.
Yeah, the Andrew Tates of the world. Like, tell me that you don't know how to talk about your feelings without telling me.
Right.
Yeah, but it did seem also maybe it was older folks. So hopefully younger gentlemen out there are seeing that like this is okay. I feel like we've seen more men crying in the league lately. Love that, because we don't want that repressed and you beating your spouse or something like that. We like when people express it in healthy ways, like crying. Okay, so like let's keep that up, right? But I was glad to see a lot of people are like really supportive of that. And so I hope I really hope that this next year that he gets some much needed support like on the field. My God, because to blame himself for that made me so sad.
Yeah, but Josh is a good heart. He's got heart to do that. I mean, I think it takes. I think he should. I think him owning up to it shows that he cares, and he really wants. He really wants to get a Lombardi Trophy. The Buffalo, he does.
Yeah, the passion and the love for the game and the team was so evident with those tears. I feel like it communicated everything. So you want a quarterback that's willing to cry over a loss, okay?
Right.
Yeah.
Remember, I don't know if you remember, they tried to give Caleb Williams. Remember when he cried at USC and they lost to UCLA? He was crying to his mother, and they tried to say that, oh, he was being a crybaby and blah blah blah. It's like he's close with his mother and he's passionate about a game. He lost to his biggest rival. I mean, is he not allowed to do that? He should.
A lot of the broadcasters are boomers who are like 50 plus. And I just feel like hopefully with the younger generation, we can kind of come to the conclusion that this is a healthy thing. Again, you cannot say quarterbacks were not tough. So many players played through broken bones this year. Like, just because they might express themselves doesn't mean that they're like somehow weak or whatever. I think it's a really good thing. Hopefully, boys and we'll see this, their role models actually expressing. Hopefully we can get past like this kind of a road bump. And Caleb,
those guys, like I said, they were from a different generation where that wasn't acceptable. That's why.
Yeah. And so we perceive it as just weakness. And I'm like, well, good Lord, I hope we can leave that behind, because y'all decide, because a lot of men use anger because it's easier to, instead of actually being in terms enough to cry. And I think anger can be very dangerous, especially when you're a huge man. So I'm all about like this. I think this is great. I love Caleb Williams. I loved his pink nails from the start. He's great. And we need more like him. So. Yeah.
So let's start with the hirings. So what did you think about John Harbaugh going to the Giants?
Well, I'm like, anything is better. I mean, not that I didn't hate Daboll, okay? I think the New York teams are like cursed, like along with the Broncos apparently. They seem to have like these really awful franchises that are like just like the worst ever, like culture going on ever. And so I'm really hoping, if I were to say someone who could clean that mess up, I would say it would be Harbaugh. He's extremely experienced. He's got so many years, and he has great leadership. And I just feel like if anybody can go in there and try to like clean out the trash, who else besides Harbaugh, right? I feel like you're going to need that kind of like strong experience, right? So like I was excited. I know some Giants fans, not so much. But I mean, he's probably one of the best options by far. And yeah, if not him, then who? And certainly I think he has potential to at least it may not be great, but it'll be better. Hopefully.
Yeah, and Giants fans, it's damned if you do, damned if you don't. I mean, if you can't get up for John Harbaugh to be your coach, you're never going to get up for anybody.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of trauma there from having so many bad coaches and such bad team management and stuff like that. I feel like they find it difficult to get excited about much.
Daboll actually recommended that they got Harbaugh when he was fired. I don't know if you knew that. I heard a story about that.
No, I didn't, but yeah.
And you know what? The one thing I actually give Daboll credit, though, is like I said, I'm a Bills fan. And obviously everybody knows what he did with Josh Allen. But the one thing I think he did do, though, is he made that job more attractive for a Harbaugh to take it. Because when he took that job, everybody's remembered Joe Judge was horrible. Remember when he was with them?
I remember.
And Daboll took that job to at least give him respectability. And even though his record wasn't that good, he did actually have them in the right direction. And after 4 or 5 years, he made it attractive for a Harbaugh to take it over. And like I said, it showed that Daboll came in, which made them ready to win now. And that's why hiring Harbaugh shows that they're finally ready to win now than later.
Yeah, it did feel like that. It felt like they were really willing to fix things.
Yeah. And what about Kevin Stefanski heading to Atlanta? And here's the funny thing about Kevin Stefanski. This is really funny. This is his second head coaching job, and he's still only 44 years old. How crazy
right.
is that?
Why are people always rushing to get him? Why does he have such a reputation? I'm not quite sure I'm getting that.
Offensive mind in Minnesota. He's actually he was a good offensive coordinator. He's got a good offensive background.
Yeah, but I mean, is it really that impressive in comparison to some of the other options? It feels like pretty on par.
Well, hey, they saw his they saw his 6 years with the Browns and said, hey, the Browns may have not been that great, but he actually provided them stability, though. He actually lasted 6 years with them.
I guess. Or the team was complacent and they had so many other problems. They didn't feel like getting a new head coach and trying to navigate that too.
Yeah, but that defense, though, was just as good as any team in the league, though, with Schwartz. If you think about it, that's what kept him around.
Yeah. I guess I feel like he's a little overhyped, but I feel like we'll definitely see, because on paper Atlanta's really good, or it has some really good players anyways. So
Well, like yeah, he's gonna have a chance to develop Michael Penix, and he's gonna have a strong running game with Bijan.
Yeah,
So
right. And so if he, I guess that we'll see, and he's going to be better than what they had again,
yeah.
And he has tools to work with. So here's hoping that we see signs of life from a team that should have done much better this last season.
Mm-hmm. And Julie, I think you're gonna you might like this one because I think it's a little bit of history for the Titans. What did you think about the Titans hiring none other than Mr. Robert Saleh as their new leader?
Well, I have a lot of love for Robert Saleh. I don't really feel like he's had a fair run in the league. He had to deal with the Jets for all that time, and then now he's getting the Titans, which feels unethical. And
right, but at least he's got Cam Ward, not Aaron Rodgers at 44 years old.
Right. Yeah, and on top of being the first Muslim Arab head coach, not the first Arab.
I wrote an article about that, by the way, when I was at Celeb Mag, about him being the first Muslim coach.
Yeah, I've written a lot about that, and I was really upset about the Jets acting like they had to escort him out with the security, saying he was. I forget what they say. I don't want to misquote it, but it definitely felt like it was a stereotype. I was not happy. I feel like he got completely wronged over there. It was gross. It was disgusting. They made him sound like he was like violent on the edge, kind of, because we never have people getting escorted out by security. Mm-hmm. Did not love that. Felt like that was prejudicial. Anyways, he had to deal with the Jets, and then they did that to him at the end. The Titans are rough. I hope that they do better. I hope that they give him a real go. He does have better options. The Jets are trash. Their culture is trash, and I don't appreciate them at all. And so anything is better than that. But I'm certainly it's quite the challenge for him. And I already feel like being a Jets and his position in the league is enough of a challenge, but he's willing to take it on, and I'm excited to see it. So I have a lot of love for Robert Saleh. The Jets were not a good reflection of what he can do. They're not a good reflection of anything except for a trash can. And so I look forward to seeing
I do like Aaron Glenn, though, actually.
Yeah, I feel like he's another victim of their trash. So
well, guess what? He did actually help get rid of one of their trash, which was Aaron Rodgers. The first thing he did when he got in there, he said, "Goodbye, you're gone."
And that one loser, Hackett, Nathaniel Hackett. But do you think that?
What about this? Mike LaFleur was actually under Robert Saleh. Mike LaFleur was the Jets offensive coordinator, and now he goes to the Rams, and he's about to be a head coaching candidate, and he couldn't even do it with the Jets. Mike LaFleur.
Yeah. Oh my God.
But anyway, you know how I feel. I feel like Robert Saleh, I think that whole Aaron Rodgers drama, I think that got him fired, because I think the first 2 years, actually the second year prior to Rodgers, they were 8-9.
Yeah.
And even though Zach Wilson, I think, wasn't developing, I would have actually still taken him over Aaron Rodgers at the time. I honestly think if they played Zach Wilson and never signed Rodgers, I still think Saleh would have been there.
Yeah, which may have not. Maybe this is a good thing for him that he got a fresh start, because I think they would have.
Right. Like I said, he's got a chance to develop Cam Ward. I think the one thing knows, I think Tennessee's defense will be good. He's had great defenses everywhere he's been.
Right. Yeah. I have a running theory that Aaron Rodgers is a Grim Reaper for careers.
Exactly.
It certainly seems like everywhere he goes.
Said it. I mean, but anyway, let's move on to the next firings. Now, this one was actually done. It was in the middle of the season after they blew another 10-point loss to the Bears. The New York Giants fired Brian Daboll. Did you think at the time that they should have fired him in the middle of the season and gave the coach to Mike Kafka? Or do you think they were actually just better off waiting until the end of the year to do it, because they ended up only really winning 2 more games under Kafka, but they did look a little bit better under Kafka. So that's the thing.
Yeah, I think it was another trash decision by an organization that's struggling. Dayball is not that bad. You didn't have to do him like that. It felt unnecessary. It was pretty gross to me. To me, that's a kind of discouragement from bringing in a better head coach. I'm glad that didn't scare Harbaugh away, because do you really want to be the franchise head coach for a team that's going to get rid of you in the middle of the season and embarrass and throw you out like that? I don't feel like that was necessary. Yeah, I didn't appreciate that. I think you got to be really, really, really bad. And I feel like they had so many problems, and he was only a small part of it. And it felt like a scapegoat or something for the disaster that was happening elsewhere.
He still was, like I said, a lot better than Joe Judge was. Just saying.
Yeah, sure, get rid of him. I don't mind. But the middle of the season was dramatic and unnecessary.
Right. Anyway, this one's gonna be fun. Let's do this one. Moving on to Mike Tomlin of Pittsburgh. Finally, after 19 years, the dude resigned because as a way to not get fired.
Yeah, resigned, step down, escorted down the steps. Yeah. God, I don't know. I like Tomlin, and I just feel like it's Aaron Rodgers striking again. I felt like they were doing something good last year, and I know I'm biased because I love Russ, but I feel like if they had kept him, like they might have been in a
Justin Fields, but
Justin Fields got benched though because he was kind of
he was 4-2 though with the Steelers before he got benched though.
Yeah, but then Russ was doing pretty well too. They still had their winning record, and so I wish they could have kind of kept that ball rolling. It became clear to me that once Harbaugh got fired, that it seemed like 2026 was going to be the year of firing all of the experienced head coaches that were having like semi-decent performances, but not quite meeting it. So I wasn't surprised. I did call that one. Along with McDermott, it was like, if you've been there for too long and you haven't gotten us a Super Bowl, you're out. So I wasn't totally shocked, but I was kind of disappointed. I like Tomlin. Okay.
Right.
So what do you think? Where do you think he's going to go? Do you think he's going to keep going? I think he's going to keep coaching.
He may, but I think he may. I think he might eventually do. No, I think the plan was he was going to take a year off to do broadcasting and then look to get hired in the 2027 cycle. That's what I heard.
Yeah, which is very reasonable. And Peyton did that. Sean Payton did that. So it's like, yeah, that makes perfect sense to me. And after getting grim reapered by the career stealer, I might need a year too. Because that would be rough.
Do you have any replacements in mind for the Steelers, maybe?
I don't know. I'm really alarmed by where they're at. Because what's their plan for next year? Like, I just feel like, and who's going to be their new quarterback when Aaron bites the dust, if he's not already? Like,
he only signed a 1-year deal, and it's the reason why that's why Justin Fields and Russell Wilson left last year. They were only on 1-year deals.
Right. So, like, I feel like they're going to be rebuilding for a minute and then throwing on the new head coach. I don't know. I mean, like, because you don't even know what you're working with, right? I mean, are they going to draft a new quarterback? Do they have somebody in mind? Like, it just seems like they have a lot of decisions to be making.
Yep. And what about Pete Carroll from the Raiders only after a year? Was that justified?
Yeah, things didn't go really well over there for him. Yeah. So, but don't be talking about Pete Carroll now, and don't be acting like that's a reflection of his coaching talents as a whole. I'm getting really tired of people saying, oh, Russ is trash because of 1 year here, 1 year there. You don't get to say that, okay? They had a really fantastic career, Super Bowl winning. I don't need to hear that because when they're old, that they didn't have a good season somewhere that was already a dumpster fire before they got there. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So don't be talking about no Pete Carroll or no Russell Wilson up in here.
Mm-hmm. Man, I
that
can't
being
believe
said,
Pete,
I don't know
Pete
if
Carroll
he-
still has his energy at 70 years old. His energy is like
yeah.
contagious.
I think the issue is that he wasn't chewing enough gum. So I think they need to work with that and maybe get him a brand deal or something so they can afford his gum habit, because I feel like that was part of the problem. I just don't know at his age if he's going to be like how much he can't, because he can't be like a long-term coach. He can only fill in certain places, and I don't know if that's his forte because he was with the Seahawks so long. I just don't know if he can hard to say, but he's got more energy and better health than half the league, players included.
Right. Just ask Gus Bradley and Brian Schottenheimer's former assistants. You know, I mean, just ask Brian Schottenheimer. Look at what he does with the Cowboys. He does the Pete Carroll thing. He goes, CeeDee Lamb got a touchdown. Then I'll go, yeah, George Pittman got a touchdown. Yeah, where do you think he learned that from, right?
Right. Yeah.
Or Gus Bradley with the Jags when he used to do "We Believe in Victory." Again, same thing. You learned that from Pete Carroll, right?
Yeah. So I don't know if he's gonna be somewhat. I don't know if maybe he should take all of that energy and skill and experience somewhere else. I'm not really sure.
I have another one too. Jonathan Gannon from Arizona. Was it time for him to leave?
Yeah, I think so. I'm sad by what's happening to Harrison Jr. over there. I don't know what's going on over there either, because it's sort of like Anthony Richardson and in Indianapolis. It feels like
Anthony Richardson wasn't NFL ready. He left college too early after 14 or 15.
Yeah, but he was their starter, and then they benched him even though he could play, and they were like, bye. So it kind of felt like that. I mean, I was kind of shocked when Kyler Murray didn't come back, like, ever, and they were just, like, done with him. And I'm like, is that going to be the decision? What are they going to do? Brissett is not going to be, like, a long-term solution. So I'm kind of confused on what's going on over there too. And now they're throwing a new head coach on to whatever mess is happening. They also have some significant culture issues that they're going to need to sort out and figure out what happens to Murray. I think if he gets kicked off the team, though, that he probably doesn't have much of a future in the league because he has a reputation, you know?
Right. Yeah. Any replacements in mind, you think, for the Cardinals?
Bring Dayball over there. Why? I don't know. Because I wasn't impressed by Gannon. I don't know. Anybody will probably do that's not the new talent that they don't know if they're good or not yet. Just somebody who's probably anything would be better. I don't even know how he got that position.
Well, because you know why he went to the Super Bowl as a defensive coordinator with the Eagles under Sirianni before he got hired.
Yeah, well, that really worked out for him. So, yeah. I guess I'm getting tired of these super young defensive and offensive coordinators who are like somehow becoming like these really big head coaching picks when we don't actually know if they can do it.
Yep.
So not one of those. Somebody who's at least been a head coach before, yeah?
Yep. And how about Mike McDaniel from Miami? Was it time for him to call his fate?
Yeah. Yeah, I think we all can agree on that, right? They were kind of a hot mess, and they're also going to have to sort out what they're going to do with their quarterback situation. What a mess, right? But, like, he's a funny guy, though. I feel like he's the opposite of what you would associate with a football coach, like, personality-wise, dispositionally. And so, like, for that reason alone, I appreciate that because we need all types, right? But, like, I just think that was not working, and they needed to clean house because it was just a disaster that was continuing to grow.
Well, luckily, I think they actually found a pretty good replacement in Packers defensive coordinator Jeff Hadley. I think that may not be like the most
I didn't
appetite
understand that
higher,
one
but I
either
think it's
because
early. I think they'll take that over McDaniel right now,
I guess, but like the Packers
Mhm.
defense, I didn't follow them that closely, but whenever I did, their defense was a disaster. I didn't understand that one
That's
either.
because Micah Parsons ended up being out for the
Yeah,
year.
but if your defense relies on one person, you've got bigger problems. And if the only reason that you're good is because you have one good player, you're not that great.
Mhm.
So I feel like he's not shown a damn thing other than he can
Mhm.
have a good player on his roster. I
Mhm.
have no idea. To me, that feels like another Gannon decision, and I don't see that going
Mhm.
well. So whatever.
Mhm. Mhm.
Disaster. I don't think
Mhm.
he's gonna go there and clean it up. Oh great, you're gonna bring Micah Parsons there too? Like
No, because he's got a big contract with the Packers. He's already signed to them to a second
yeah, of
big
course
deal.
not. I just mean like you're not a good defensive coordinator if you can help a good player do good things on your team. So
Mhm.
hopefully he can find another Micah Parsons to show that he's still good at it. Whatever. I just
The one thing I think he is gonna do though is I think he's gonna bring even when they hired one of the why they hired him, because the GM they hired came from the Packers, and he said we need to be more we need to be tough, we need to be more of a tougher and nastier team, and that's why they brought him in, because he was basically saying we need anti Mike McDaniel. They were not tough under him at all.
wow.
But I'm saying he thinks Jeff Halley at least brings a toughness to the team that they need, that can make them a little more competitive.
Yeah, I see that going down in flames, but we'll see if that prediction
Yeah.
stays.
Mhm.
I'm just glad he didn't go to the Titans because our good friend
Mhm.
Jay is a Titans fan, and I didn't feel like he deserved that kind of a punishment. So,
Yeah, but like I said, Robert Sale will make them a tougher team to play against, I think.
yeah, I love that
They
pick.
may not, I
Or
don't think they're going to win right away, but they'll be harder to play against, under him.
yeah, no, the Titans are lucky. Salah not so much in that situation, but
Mhm.
I didn't want to see the Titans pick that goose egg if they didn't have to, just for Jay's sake.
Mhm. Yep. And what about Raheem Morris from the Atlanta Falcons? Did you see this coming? Another disciple from the Sean McVay tree.
Yeah, for sure, because on paper at least they have good players in multiple positions. It just didn't make
Yeah.
sense. And so for whatever reason he wasn't
Mhm.
able to bring out the talent that was there. They needed to
Yeah.
bring somebody else in there. Yeah.
But what about the fact that at least his first two seasons were 8 and 9, but at least in his second year, it looked like he finally started building the defense, because that's where Atlanta was having problems. And he had the defense, I think, going in the right direction in his second year.
Yeah, not everybody's meant to be a head coach. I think that's one thing that
Mhm.
we can all reflect on. And then
Right.
also, maybe he just needs a change of scenery because I'm not sure that he's a bad coach. I just think that that was not his forte. That
He's
was
a
not,
good defense. No, he's a really good defensive-minded defensive
yeah.
coordinator. He
Yeah,
is.
but their offense was trash, and that's where they needed more.
Yeah.
So I think
Mhm.
like his days there were numbered, and that was a good choice. But I wouldn't say that he should never try again somewhere else. Like maybe that just
Right.
wasn't the fit.
Mhm. Um, well, looks like we come to the end of our show. So, and we wanted to let everyone know that this will be our last Buffalo Sports Conversation Room show for season 3. We will be back at the start of the baseball season for season 3 of the Subway Conversation Chat, and we'll be doing season 4 of the Buffalo Sports Conversation Room starting next fall. So Julie, where can we find you in the social media world on Tuesday, January 20th, 2026, the one day after college football just ended?
Yeah, yeah. Go Hosiers or whatever their name is. Uh, I cannot stand college football. Um, but yeah, go Hosiers. If that's how you say it. Anyway,
Hoosiers. Yeah.
yes. Um, you can find me at It's Miller Crime on Twitter, on Instagram. Um, it's a play on It's Miller Time, of course. You have to be a little older for that one, but it's a good one. Okay, okay. Anyway, and I I've been slacking a little bit on the writing, but I will be posting my articles there in the upcoming weeks. So keep an eye out. And Black History Month is right around the corner, and I'll be covering I'll be doing articles on that in particular. So you have that to look forward to. So yeah, just check me out there. And where can they find you, Jamie? Besides here.
Yep. You guys can follow me, yours truly, on Bill's Chat 1 at Bill's Mafia Chat, and also at Jamie Malloy, the unbiased journalist, at DJ Dog Tags on X, and theforkball.com, where I write about all sports. Please don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and ring the bell for all notifications. For more content on Driving to the Top Productions, you can visit our YouTube page, Twitch stream, Facebook stream, X stream, wherever you get your podcasts. Thank you very much for listening. Let me see. Hold on.
Well, it was definitely great to be.
Hold on, Julie, I'm back. Thank you very much for listening. And remember, folks, it was a great season for the Bills. Too bad the refs had to end it. Shout goes out to James Cook for winning the rushing title. And let's all root for the Seahawks against the Rams in the NFC Championship game. And the quarter friend, Chris Berman. Nobody circles the wagons for the last 9 years under head coach Sean McDermott like the Buffalo Bills. See you next week, folks.
See you next season.
To rock this place.